Welcome to Style Lesson 7. My name is Dr. Burkett. Today I will discuss global coherence and illustrate how to frame essays, sections, and paragraphs in a way that tells readers the point, relevance, and principle of organization. How do writers frame essays, sections, and paragraphs to create coherence? Frame is the operative metaphor, for it implies a top, a bottom, that helps readers focus, understand, and see the point, the relevance of details, and the principle of organization. Skillful writers use frames as a general plan to frame their communication for clarity and coherence according to three rhyming and easily remembered Greek words: thesis, analysis, synthesis. This method is, in fact, Aristotle's practice as a research writer. So this general plan has proven itself over 2 millennia and is deeply embedded in Western practices and preferences of writing and speech communication. First comes the thesis, to introduce the topic, the point, and the key concepts in a sentence or two. This thesis or claim is an easily grasped topic sentence for the section, paragraph, or passage. This thesis is important in academic and business communication, including emails, where readers want to know in the very first sentence what the writer is requesting or requiring. In this sense, the point sentence shows respect for people's time and attention. Second comes analysis, to explain relevant facts, examples, testimony, and details, with key concepts in a way that supports, illustrates, or proves the thesis or point sentence. Third comes synthesis, to wrap it all up with a summary statement. Moreover, this framework ensures that writers stay in control of their argument because their point starts and ends it. This method of writing thesis, analysis, and synthesis creates the general framework for global coherence, whether one is writing an essay, chapter, paragraph, or business message. For a whole document or essay, readers must know where the introduction ends and the body begins, as well as where each section ends and the next begins. If the writer cannot find these markers or transitions, neither will the reader. Here's how to signal these important moves. First, use headings to signal where one section ends and the next begins, styling headings with key themes or topics. Headings and subheads help target readers to recognize transitions from one section to another. In principle, the longer a writing project, the more organizational features readers need to navigate the many parts. A good practice is to style subheads as questions, for the question helps define the purpose and the scope of each section and helps advance the flow of an essay as a question-answer genre. Check your style guide for how to make first and second level subheadings with headline-style capitalization. Second, assert the thesis or main claim or point at the end of that introduction, where readers expect to find it. For a short essay, writers place the thesis at the end of the introductory paragraph. For longer projects with longer introductions, writers generally place the thesis as the first or last sentence of the last paragraph of that introductory section. Third, detail an advance organizer at the end of the introduction that maps out or lists briefly your supporting reasons for believing and recommending the thesis, with reasons that you will develop and support in your body paragraphs. Skillful communicators use advance organizers to forecast their supporting reasons or subordinate points, which usually form topic sentences. As such, writers work back and forth between topic sentences and the advance organizer to refine each. The advanced organizer is one of the most helpful rhetorical devices because it helps both readers and writers. Fourth, announce key concepts that you will repeat as main themes in the essay. These key concepts are already in your headings, thesis, and advanced organizers, but if not, it is strategic to forecast key concepts in the introductory framework. Similar principles apply for framing a document's sections. First, write a short segment to introduce each section or subsection. This short segment may be one sentence or a short paragraph, depending on the length and scope of your document. Second, state the main point at the end of that short segment, along with key concepts or supporting reasons that you will develop as distinctive themes in that section. Third, repeat key concepts in the body and in the conclusion of that section. As a side note, these principles of coherence apply to all levels of writing. For instance, in a simple sentence, that short, introductory, easily grasped segment is called the grammatical subject. In a complex sentence, that short segment is called the main clause that expresses the main point. In a paragraph, that short introductory segment is called a topic sentence. These principles are necessary to inform readers what a sentence or a paragraph is about. The same familiar principles apply to framing paragraphs according to thesis, analysis, synthesis. First, introduce the paragraph and its point in a telling sentence, usually called the topic sentence or the section's thesis. Second, explain evidence and information in several showing sentences. The middle is the place to report the results of analysis in the form of facts, examples, and testimony, like quotations, which I explain by my method of analysis. Third, wrap it up in a summary sentence in a way that points back to the topic sentence. The bottom frame creates synthesis. This framework helps readers, but it also helps the writer in many ways. For instance, when writing with sources, the frame helps the writer to manage and stay in control of powerful voices in quotations, so that they serve the writer's thesis and not vice versa. The frame ensures that the writer begins and ends the paragraph with his or her own claim or thesis. Here's the point. To write a document that readers will think is coherent, open every section, subsection, and the whole with a short, easily grasped introductory segment. At the end of that opening segment, write a sentence that states both the point of the passage and the key themes that follow. Such point sentences constitute the outline of your document, its logical structure. If readers miss them, they may judge your writing to be incoherent. But with them, readers will experience your writing, from paragraphs to the whole document, as coherent. Let me illustrate how I framed a short paragraph. First, I make my first sentence a short, easily grasped topic sentence. It's my mini thesis for the paragraph and includes key concepts like wisdom, remedy, and restlessness. The topic sentence reads, in Psalm 37, King David writes inspired wisdom as the remedy to human restlessness. Second, I report my results of analysis by detailing evidence in the form of examples, quotations, and explanations repeating key concepts. Moreover, in creative writing and film, each close-up is a synecdoche, so similarly in expository prose, each quotation of a known author represents a school of thought, or a cultural or religious tradition. As such, I don't want too many quotations, but a few representative quotations or paraphrases to make my point and to respect my reader's time. Lastly, I write a summary sentence to wrap it all up, which reads, King David offers timeless counsel for how to lead a joyful life full of passion and purpose. I also add a short application. Who would refuse it? That is, this wise advice. Please notice how I start and end my paragraph with my words, not someone else's. My selected examples in the form of 4 quotations serve as evidence to support my point. As a writer, I need to stay in charge, to manage and introduce my evidence rather than hiding behind authoritative voices, which can easily happen if I'm not careful to frame my paragraphs with my words. As a writer, I act like a trial lawyer, making a case by calling upon expert testimony, but I don't let the experts take over my case. I need to manage them, to introduce them, and to show how they are relevant and support my thesis. So I start and end my paragraphs not with a quotation, but with my point. Moreover, notice how I create a consistent point of view in the paragraph, applying principles of local coherence by making consistent subject strings. I compose each sentence's grammatical subject with a character like King David or a familiar concept like wisdom or counsel. This style creates local coherence, augmenting global coherence. Readers can make sense of almost anything written if they know its points, but readers want to see 2 more things, 2 more aspects of global coherence: relevance and organization. First, what is the role of relevance? Well, readers experience a passage as coherent when all of its sentences are relevant to its point or claim. Sentences are relevant to a point when they offer these: background or context information, the section's points or claims, supporting reasons, supporting evidence in the form of facts, examples, and expert or eyewitness testimony, explanation of reasons and methods, considering or responding to other points of view. Other information may not be relevant to the point. Writers always want to consider the relevance of their presented information so as to serve their readers best. Otherwise, writers cause readers to wander incoherently, and who has time for that? Second, what is the role of organization? Readers experience an essay as coherent when they perceive its principle of organization and logical progression, most often in three forms. First, choose chronological progress for narratives, using the terms like first, then, finally, and causation, with terms like because, as a result, consequently. Second, choose coordinate progress for supporting reasons, organized as first, second, third, however, more important, and so forth. Or third, select logical progress for inductive reasoning, with such terms as, for example, in this case, it follows that, or deductive reasoning, thus, therefore, so that, and assertion and rejoinder, on the one hand, or on the other hand. Given principles of global motivation and global coherence, we can create a plan for global revision by posing our key concepts as questions. The point is that if you cannot easily identify these elements or answer these key questions, then neither will your readers, who will likely find your writing incoherent and less than motivating. First, consider asking questions of global motivation while planning, focusing, and drafting your project. Ask, what's the problem addressed? Where do sections begin and end? What parts are in the introduction? How is so what or significance answered? How is the thesis distinguished? Then consider asking questions about global coherence after you've drafted or about halfway through your writing. Ask, where's the advanced organizer? What are the key concepts? Where are the key concepts repeated? How is each section formed? What is the point of each section? How is each section relevant? What is the principle and progress of organization? Before revision comes critique, asking specific critical questions such as these of your writing project. Then, every identified weakness is an opportunity for improvement. For writers improve as writers through revision and help their readers make better sense of their writing to experience it as coherent. See you at the next style lesson on the topic of concision.